Assalamu alaikum, Uswa Maryam.
Walaikum assalam.
Okay, so tell me what makes you write non-fiction above fiction?
So basically, what I usually write is fiction. But my first published work was non-fiction, and this form of writing is usually called poetic prose. So this is not really poetry, but a prose, a form of prose that has a poetic touch to it. And what makes me write it is so poetry is kind of this unfinished form of thought, and so sometimes when we are feeling certain things, it's very hard to articulate them properly in the form of sentences. And this form of writing is the one that helps you express those really unfinished thoughts into this concise piece that can convey an emotion to others. So this is a good form of writing for conveying your emotions, and it's emotional writing, I would say. And I was able to express this way.
All right. Why do you choose this title, Majaazi Khuda? Is it a love story or novel or anything else?
Yeah. So basically, Majazi Khuda was, so this book has this particular theme in which a woman, or women in general, like women as a whole concept, is trying to um kind of, there's this word play where a woman is trying to understand the concept of manhood and womanhood are both kind of having this conversation with each other, and perspective of a woman, and each chapter is from the perspective of a different woman. And Majazi Huda is this um connection between the idea of God and man, and how women try to understand men or God himself. And so Majazi Huda was this like very material understanding of God and also of manhood. It's both.
All right. Okay, why do you choose this concept?
Yeah, so basically, it had a lot of significance in my own life. I do think that I've seen this a lot. I've observed that women, um, at least from my surroundings, this society at least, are always in this state of not having an identity of their own and living through men. Like when you don't have a complete freedom of life of your own, and you're living through the idea of man, their freedom, and whatever they're providing you, and so you are incomplete on your own, and also you're very alienated from the world, and you're also alienated from the other gender. So there's this divide between men and women. The subtitle of this book is Antidote to Misandry, and misandry is basically man hatred. So I tried to write also about what makes this divide where a woman starts hating men, or starts hating the idea of men, and cannot humanize them.
Okay, can you share a few points about your book?
Yeah, sure. So I have, each chapter is this different connection. Like there's the first chapter is between, it could be a friend, a man friend, or even it could be a partner. The next chapter is about our daughter and her father, and it's called Man is a House. I can share an excerpt from that. And so basically, it speaks of how in fatherhood, when fathers usually are trying to so hard to provide us with material things that that connection is sometimes most of the time reduced to that material aspect, and they are unable to convey their emotional um, bond that they have with you. And so there's this resentment from the daughter that um, he is just giving her this material house and he's not present himself. So this excerpt is about that. She kicks his walls, she pounces on the pillars, she slams the doors, she turns the drawers upside down to find keys. She strives endlessly, even if it's all in vain. He just wants her to stay in. So basically, this is speaking about how she's like kind of feels like she's being locked in, um, and she doesn't really understand that her father has any love for her. But the chapter ends like this. It was all for you, he whispers. It was all for you. You were my only dream. You were the hope I cherished. You were my reason to live. But you don't hear the house. You're alive. You're too human. So इस तरह से कि like fathers spend their entire life doing so much that they become kind of laborers rather than this very human connection that we're supposed to have with them. That it never gets established. So this is one of the chapters, and so this is one of the chapters, and a lot of different chapters about different connections. And so there is one chapter that is about abusive men as well. So it's like
Mhm.
it explores a lot of different things. um I can share that as well, or we can move towards the next question if we have
Hmm.
time.
Okay, there's a chapter named Man is a Secret. What was the reason behind choosing this title?
So this is the first chapter, and I kept it as the first chapter. It's because basically that's what began the writing of this whole book. Man is a Secret is more like जब हम हमारी लाइफ में जो भी मर्द की सूरत में जो भी ताल्लुकात होते हैं, हमारा भाई, हमारे फादर्स, या हमारा कोई पार्टनर या कोई फ्रेंड्स, हस्बैंड,
Hmm.
ऑल दैट, उनसे एक सेपरेशन फील होती है. लाइक यू कांट अंडरस्टैंड हु दे रियली आर, स्पेशली एज अ वुमन. You try very hard, but they're so different from you. ऐसा लगता है कि उनकी जिंदगी और उनकी दुनिया बिल्कुल मुख्तलिफ है, इवन दो वो आपके हर साथ हर वक्त हों, लेकिन फिर भी एक बहुत ज्यादा डिस्टेंस फील होता है. ऐसा लगता है कि उनके दिमाग की दुनिया तक आप कभी पहुंच नहीं सकते. तो दिस चैप्टर इज ऑल अबाउट दैट कंजेक्चर के व्हाट इज his mind, who is he, and it's like what runs through that mind. What does he think, why is he not around. And इस हर चैप्टर के अंदर एक अंडरटोन गॉड की भी है. लाइक हम खुदा को भी जैसे समझने की कोशिश करते हैं, वो भी काफी सिमिलर होती है कि खुदा क्या है, और कभी हम समझ भी नहीं पाते. एंड ऐसे लगता है कि वी ट्राई टू रियली गेट क्लोज विद द आइडिया ऑफ गॉड, बट देयर इज ऑल्सो दिस लार्ज डिस्टेंस बिकॉज यूर जस्ट अ ह्यूमन बीइंग. एंड आपकी ह्यूमन माइंड कहाँ तक ही पहुंच सकता है उस अंडरस्टैंडिंग तक. तो ये दोनों चीजों को साथ लेके चलता है. एंड हेंस द नेम इज ऑल्सो लाइक मजाजी खुदा, because it's like exploring both the themes together.
Okay, so tell me, is this book for all readers?
Definitely not, I would say. And that is why it has very limited copies too. Because this, when I started writing it, it was just this um, kind of streams of consciousness that I had. And
Mhm.
I was writing it in a way to even understand it myself, you know. And from what like the people that have read this book have really connected with it, because this, like, they have connected with the emotions of it. But I wouldn't say it's for every reader, but I would say that there's one chapter for everyone. There's going to be this one chapter that like, if you
Mhm.
don't relate to this man is a secret, you might relate to the one between father and son, or father or daughter, or um
Hmm.
there are different chapters, and there's one out there for anyone out there. It's very
All
universal
right.
in a sense.
All right. Okay. What's the most important lesson you have learned through years of writing?
Um, it's in a way writing is very cathartic, and in a way writing is like it feels like there's no dead end. Whenever you in my life, at least whenever I've reached like a dead end, it feels like there's no way out. It's just like this confusion in your mind when you start actually like for example, if you write down your thoughts and if you're very confused about anything, you can write those
Hmm.
thoughts down, and when you actually read them out, you will be able to find a solution. So what a writing has um really taught me all the years is that there's hope in every situation and there's a way out
Mm-hmm.
from every complication in life. And so for me, writing is a way to solve those things, and it's a very hopeful thing for me.
Hmm. What is your schedule for being a writer?
So what I majorly do is I am a freelance writer and I write fiction most of the time. This is a very different piece of writing I've done, and this is my first published work. But what I usually do is I write fiction, freelance writing on Upwork, and so usually I'll have 2 3 clients constantly, and my writing is like once I've found the time. I also study meanwhile. I'm also a university student. तो हर दिन में एटलीस्ट 4 5 घंटे राइटिंग करनी होती है, और सुबह का वक्त इज यूजुअली द बेस्ट टाइम, और इट्स
Mm-hmm.
ईदर early in the morning, or it's when late at night, like when you have nothing else to do and you are in a very contemplative sort of state of mind, so you can just sit down and imagine a lot of things, and a lot of stories can come to you, and it can be like from 10 to 1 even. That's usually my
Hmm.
schedule.
Right. Please read us any excerpt from your book.
Okay, sure, I'll do that. So this book you has like all of the chapters have a lot of like complications, I would say, and they're about a very confused state of mind that's trying to reach a conclusion or resolution. But the last chapter is um
Mm-hmm.
it's all about that. It's the conclusion, it's the resolution, and in a way, it's like trying to resolve that disconnect and the distance. And it's about the people who overcome all of these struggles of their mind and also the social struggles and kind of social roles that have been put on us, and actually overcome that and recognize who they actually are. So my conclusion of this book was that men and women are equal, and the last chapter is named "Man is Kind, Man is Hope." So when they do find the hope within each other, men and women, um, I see the weather's changing. The scorching heat does not burn me anymore. The wind always blows softly. I'm not battling the bitter cold anymore. The earth does not shatter beneath me. It holds an undeniable space that I found in your kinship, my companion in adversity. We are not so different after all, I concede. What a waste it was to spend a lifetime not having known you, not knowing you were too afraid of the dark. We could have held each other's hand. What a waste to fear the world's disavowal when we are enough as we are, with children dancing in our eyes and wings for flight, with a way out of the cave of despair, with hearts full of love and hope. So this was the end.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay, now tell us about the Dastan. How do you find Dastan? Through any source or reference?
Yes. hmm So basically, I 2 years ago, when basically COVID happened, and I was doing freelance writing, and I thought, okay, I would definitely want to publish. But freelance writing कई दफा आपको ghost writing भी करनी पड़ती है जिसमें you never like ghostwriting is when you write something for someone and they can use their own name and your name never comes out. So I've done a lot of that, and so it kind of
Mhm.
gave me this desire to have my own name also out there in some published work. And I tried, just I just googled like publishing
Mhm.
websites in Pakistan, and DAASTAN was one of the number one um, सर्च इंजन में सबसे पहले जो आए। और फिर मैंने जब आई लुक्ड इट अप, द प्रोसेस वाज सो सिंपल that you just get the annual membership and then you can just share your manuscript and they can see it, and you don't have to like get any references or be this like established person. You can be a student like me, and if your work is good enough they're going to actually publish it. So I got that annual membership, and uske baad I was this year basically was when I really had that drive to actually form a concise piece of work that I wanted to
Mhm.
publish. And so the process was very simple, and it's a very good platform for beginners and especially
Mhm.
people who just want their work out there. And it was a very good experience getting my first book published from Dastan, and I would definitely go for another one later on too.
Inshallah. Okay, can you sum up like what was the reason behind choosing Dastan for publishing your book?
What was the word? Sorry, your voice was
Reason.
cutting out.
What was the reason behind choosing Dastan?
Mhm. Yeah, so again, it was a simple process, and I did want to really get something published because, in a way, it helps you communicate with the world outside in a way like you can have conversations about all of these topics I've had conversations about, but it's very fulfilling to actually. This is like a complete thought of my own, a complete emotion that's comprised of so many experiences or observations I've made. So it's a very self fulfilling thing to be able to publish
Mhm.
something, and very gratifying as well. And at the same time, it helps you connect with the world outside. And it's very, I think everyone out there that has something to share um, deserves to share it. And platforms are like indie platforms like Dastan, like there should be much more many more platforms like that too, because you
Mhm.
know it's very needed.
All right. Okay, what message you would like to give young authors or readers?
What message I would definitely give to authors, young authors, is that your words deserve to be heard. Like your words are actually, they should be put out there, and you should share them to the world, and they are going to make a difference. And so like it doesn't need to be perfect. Like your first draft is never going to be perfect. Even your first work won't be perfect. It might not be something that you are completely satisfied with, but at least do it. Like don't wait to be perfect. Like perfection may never come. In fact, it does never come. So writing is all about actually feeling and expressing and having the courage to do that. So sometimes people will have the feelings, the emotions, the ways of expressions, but they won't have the courage. So you need to bring the courage to be able to be yourself and write as yourself. And for readers, it's like try to find yourself within these stories. Sometimes I have
Mhm.
done that a lot when I was a child. Like it helps you connect with the world in a very different way, and it helps you expand yourself and even grow as a person when you connect with someone else through this literary medium. So yeah,
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Uswa.
thank you for having me.
Okay. Allah Hafiz.